Hey, I'm Jo. Welcome to Garden of Yoga, my studio. Welcome to my travel neck, back and shoulders sequence. So this is inspired by a beautiful friend of mine. Whenever she travels, she suffers from migraines, her neck pain gets worse, and I just wanted to put together a little sequence for her so that she could bring it with her when she travels and hopefully feel a lot better when she's on the road. So it's minimal props. You don't even need a yoga mat. You could use a towel on the floor. One thing that I would highly recommend is a peanut. This is a DIY version. This is 2 soft rubber balls tied in a sock. You can definitely get some more professional looking myofascial release peanuts. Choose a firmness and a size of balls that looks good for you. I really like this one, and the good thing about this inexpensive version is you can try lots of options and just see what works best for you. Also in this sequence, I do use a yoga block. You don't need a yoga block. You could use a phone book or whatever is about this size. I also use this soft stability ball, and you could just use a pillow if you don't travel with one of these. So the way I've designed this video is you can just pause your phone as you're watching and take longer with all of these moves if you like, or you can just watch the whole thing through and then do it at your own pace. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know if you've got any questions or any comments, and let me know if there's any other videos you'd like me to make, because I really love sharing this stuff and I hope you find it helpful. So even though I'm working on my neck and my upper back and my shoulders, I'm actually going to start at the base of my spine because everything's connected, and also this just feels really good. So I'm going to lie down. I'm going to pop my peanut underneath my hips, so sacrum. I'm going to roll around, just feel what's going on down in my butt. Give my glutes a bit of a massage. If you feel like there's some stuff that needs a little bit of extra time, you can pause there. You can lift and lower one knee out to the side, maybe even do some little movements, whatever feels good for you. How I'm going to do this video is I'm going to show you the move, and then you can pause your phone or whatever you're watching on, so you can just take your own time. Because, I don't want to spend like 15 minutes rolling out. That's not going to be fun to watch. And that is like how long I might end up spending if I was doing this sequence for myself. I've just moved to the lower back, and I've got the balls side by side. So I'll show you what that would look like. They're like that. And that feels really good for me. If it doesn't feel good for you, this is another option, this direction. And that is my preference when I get to my rib cage. So I just put the balls in place. I can pause and breathe and stay for quite a while, even minutes at a time if that feels good, or I can travel. So for me, holding the edges of my yoga mat and lifting my head up is a good way to feel that rolling movement along the spine. If your neck doesn't like this position, then maybe it would be better to keep it supported, maybe use a pillow. You can still do that little rolly travelly move, or you can just move the balls manually. Now that I'm working on my rib cage, I can even start to bring in a little bit of flexion, a little bit of extension. If the floor is getting in your way and that's not feeling satisfying, you can use a yoga block, or if you don't travel with a yoga block, you can use a phone book or a big book. And then now that I've got a bit of extra height underneath my balls, I can do a bigger move and really enjoy mobilizing this tighter part of my spine. Do what's right for your neck. If it doesn't feel good to come back all the way, stay where you're comfortable. Maybe don't even elevate as much. Once I've made my way between my shoulder blades, there's lots of other moves I like to do. I can do some sweeping snow angels with my arms, get my block out of the way. I can do that with bent elbows. I can steer a giant steering wheel. I can do some go-go dancing arms. I can give myself a hug and just do some side to side rolling. And this will continue all the way up. There's lots of good spots to work, so you'll just pause your phone, take that at your own pace. The next area that I love to work on is my upper trapezius muscles. So just where my neck meets the top of my shoulders, this is a really good place to pause. I usually feel like I need a while here. I can do all the same arm moves, or just arms reaching back feels really good here. If there's one side that needs a little bit of extra pressure, I can lean into that side and maybe just move that arm in whatever way that feels good. And I don't really like just rolling on my neck. That doesn't feel great for me. So I just go straight to the base of my skull, just where my head meets my neck. And then from here, I like to do little nods. I like to do little side to side moves. Sometimes I like to combine little nods and the side to side. If you get jaw tension, this is a great place to work and do some yawns. And then you can continue to walk the ball all around the back of your skull. And if you've got the jaw stuff, even in the side area there, lots of good stuff to work on there. So you can see what's happening with my head. I'm essentially doing this. And it can be a surprise because there's lots of fascia there. And I mean, how can we stretch our scalp? So I feel so good getting a scalp massage, and now you can do that for yourself. So that's the massaging part of the sequence. I'm going to do some stretches now. Just working in cat pose. So usually that would just be an inhale to arch and an exhale to round. Since we were just doing all of that massaging moves, hopefully you have a really good sense of where in your spine feels tight, where feels sensitive, where you want to focus on. We can really get into that by taking this movement into a really slow roll along the spine. I like to start with my tailbone, using my inhale to arch, using my exhale to flex, maybe even having a little moment with some gentle neck nods. And so again, take all the time you need with this. We can add in a little shoulder stretch, inhaling as we lift up, and then as we exhale, sliding under. So I usually do 4 of these moving, and then I stay. If your bottom shoulder's not on the ground, totally fine. It just means you're going to keep this hand down. If your bottom shoulder is down, that means you might like to stretch this arm out and forward and breathe, or hands together, or maybe palms together with the elbows bent, or some people even wrap that arm all the way around, whatever feels good for you. And obviously you'll do both sides. The next move that I go to is toes together, knees wide, hips stretching back. This phase of this movement is a stretch, but part of what's happening, if we're quite tight through the front of the chest and the front of the shoulders and have got into a little bit of this hunched position, is we actually need to strengthen the muscles through the back of the chest and the back of the shoulders and strengthen our shoulder stabilizer muscles. So a little add-on that we can do from here is trying to keep the chest pretty steady. So we do some little lifts with the arms, and this is surprisingly challenging. And then once we've worked as many of those as we want to do, we can also add in a beautiful lateral stretch, bringing the arms over to one side as we breathe. If you like that shoulder stretch from before, you can repeat it. Lower to the ground is going to feel a bit more intense. And obviously you'll work your other side. So I've set myself up with my feet together, my knees wide. If you want to sit on a cushion to be more comfy here, definitely do that. The other thing you can often do is just bring your feet a little bit further away. So what I'm going to do now is just take my right arm out in front, bend my left arm underneath. Sometimes this is the best option. You could also try wrapping your wrists together or give yourself a hug, which is always a nice idea. We can either think of lifting up and lengthening through the spine, or we can round the spine forwards. Go gradually. If it doesn't feel good for your lower back or your sacroiliac joint to round forwards, then keep a more upright shape. The reason I love to flex forwards in this shape is so I can really get in between my shoulder blades. And I can be quite passive and breathe here. Stay as long as you like. As a little reset, counter stretch between sides. You can either interlace your hands behind and open your chest, Or you can do that in a more active, strengthening way by planting the hands behind, squeezing your glutes, lifting up your hips. You can look forwards or you can look up. Whatever feels good for your neck, actively pressing down through the hands, opening through the front of the chest, getting that whole back line of the body working. And then you'll make your way to your second side. So like last time, comfortable sitting position, left arm out in front, right arm bending beneath, finding the best option for your shoulders. Because your spine is getting a similar stretch, you might find second time around, it's comfortable to go a little deeper. Again, breathing here. Giving this whole back line of your body, this dense connective tissue, some time to gently lengthen. And this is also your time just to breathe, to relax, because that's really important when you're traveling, especially if you're traveling to work and it can be really busy. So I'm going to ease my way back up, and then from here we'll flow on to our next move. The final part of this sequence is purely for the neck. So my favorite tool for this is a really flat stability ball. If you don't travel with a flat stability ball, just get a nice soft cushion to go underneath your head instead. So what I'm going to do is lie back, and I'm just going to nestle my head into the ball. And it actually just feels really lovely having a little cushion of air underneath my head. But then I can take it into some little nods, into some gentle little side to side moves, letting your head be really heavy, letting these movements be soft and gentle. That can turn into a little circle. So this is a good way to bring yourself into the right state of mind for relaxation. The final piece of this is a little reset move. So I can do it on the ball and think of pressing down with the back of my head and lifting up with the front of my throat. For me, I actually prefer it on the floor. Back of the head pressing down, feeling like the front of my throat is lifting up. It's a little reset for that forward head posture, and then I relax. But because the ground is in the way, I'm not actually going anywhere. And I'm only doing this to the point where I can feel a little bit of muscular activation. I don't want to make my neck or my shoulders feel tense after all of the releasing work that we've done. And then from here, it's a beautiful place just to stay and rest and breathe for as long as you like. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you find this helpful. Feel free to pop us a comment below if there's questions or other videos you'd like me to make. And if you're in Melbourne, come in and visit. We're at Garden of Yoga and you'll see our details coming up. So thanks for joining us.